Hello, everybody. We're sorry for the delay. There's the joys of technology and the frustration. So our laptop is kind of not working correctly. So the picture might be a little different, but welcome.
And from the farm, where our Wi-Fi and everything here is a little bit more remote. So it just, we had a little technical problem there. So we're going live right from an iPhone here. So
Welcome and thank you so much for joining our DIY Christmas wreath making class. For some of you, this might be your second class. Matt and I decided maybe in November we had a seasonal sprigs making a fall wreath, and we had so much fun. We said, let's do it again. So to all those returning, welcome back. And for those, this is your first time, we're so happy that you could be here with us. It's really Matt and I certainly have a fun time being able to be out here on the farm and kind of share with you how to make a wreath.
yeah, and in this grove, these trees, we planted these trees 20 years ago. So this is our last grove that we're going to cut this year. And every other row has been harvested to the point where there are really no leaves left on the trees. We saved this one for last so that you guys can actually see what the trees look like prior to harvesting them. If we go one row over, they look totally different.
Not quite as pretty.
But we just hope that you guys have fun. We're just here to have fun with you guys and hopefully show you how to make a beautiful wreath.
So let's get started. You want to make sure that you have lots of space. So make sure if you've got any books on your coffee table or things on your kitchen counter that you go ahead and clear everything off, and we'll get started. So as Matt was talking about those leaves being cut, you should have received in your kit a big, beautiful clump of fresh magnolia. So go ahead and set those aside.
I'll cut
and you'll cut that
off for
okay.
You, yeah.
And then also inside your kit, you've got little clusters of fresh greenery. So in here you have some Carolina sapphire, and you have some golden cedar, and you even have some of them have this little leyland, which is, I love this, it's so beautiful. So let's go ahead and take those clumps out. And then you have a cluster of zip ties, which is a very important component. And also make sure you've got your garden clippers. So maybe Matt will go ahead.
We've got up here like this, so
yeah.
Anything will do as long as it can cut through a little woody stem. You should be good to go.
But scissors, hopefully you've got garden clippers, because scissors can be quite difficult. Here's your wreath base. So go ahead and take that out of your kit. And then you have 2 brown bags, and inside those you'll have a cluster of cinnamon. And you've got your pine cones. So let's go ahead and kind of untwist these. And you want to just,
there should be 3 clusters of pine cones there. So you want to untwist this green wire. You want to untwist the green wire to the point where you can pull those 3 clusters apart and separate them. It'll take just a little bit of pulling on them here at the end, but with a little effort here, you should be able to get them apart. Okay.
And once you separate them, let's go ahead and this will help us later in our class, is to go ahead and completely untwist it. Can you help me just completely untwist it and kind of straighten it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, so show them.
So you want all your wires straight.
To have all your wires.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So you want your pine cones and the wire, the floor wire to kind of be straight. So we'll set those out.
If they don't untwist exactly when you get to the very ends of the wire, you can, I just use the clippers there to clip that very end of the wire off. So
because they're definitely a lot longer than you would need. And then you can open up your second bag, and inside you're going to have some dried flax. And then this is some yarrow, some dried yarrow. Okay. And you've got your trusty glue dots. So here's your wreath base. To get started, you want to make sure that this is where you're going to hang your wreath. So you want to make sure that's at the top. So I'm going to set that down right about here. Just want to make sure you can see. So maybe I'll Is that
Can
position?
they, are they
Yeah.
using that one right there?
I
Can
just
you
want to
see-
make sure, can you,
Are we using that one?
to see?
This-
Okay,
No.
okay, so I'm gonna go back here so you can see. All right, and I just want to,
Previously, we had a separate camera set up there, so it was, so we'll have to make sure that we hold this up so that they
Yeah.
can see from that direction.
okay.
So.
All
okay.
right, so basically your stems are kind of an assortment of sizes. You might have some that are a little bit larger, a little bit smaller. If you wanted just to kind of quickly look through, you don't want to pick one up that's like this size. You want to try and look for a stem that's real full. So we'll let Matt pick a really full stem
Okay,
there.
we'll get, you're gonna start with a full
Yeah,
stem.
we'll start with a
okay?
full stem.
Okay, let's find the kind of, we'll go through here and find the one with the most volume to the leaves. So,
And are they able to see you? I'm off to the side there.
so
Sure.
I went through like what the difference between some of these stems look like. Here's one that's just got more volume to the leaves. And here's a little smaller one. So I'm gonna pick
Yes,
this one.
perfect.
It's just got bigger leaves and more leaves on a stem.
Okay.
And that's the one that we'll start with. So that's
Okay.
got more volume to it.
So I think it might be best if you at home just watch me. I don't want you to actually zip tie this first because it's important that you've got your full stem, and then you're just going to kind of carefully place your hand on the top here. I just want you to watch. And then as I set this down, I'm going to
We may
hold
have
my,
to fold it
yeah.
up for them because they
I'm
might
not
not be
sure
able to
the
see
angle.
it.
so I'm going to take my hand like this. I just want you to watch for a moment. And then with your zip tie has two sides. And so you're going to want to take the ribbed side,
I'm holding
and that
it.
faces up. So Matt's going to hold it for me.
Yep.
And I'm going to take my zip tie and I'm going to come completely under that wreath base. That wreath base, it's got the little wood shavings. And I'm going to come around. I want you to watch. Don't zip tie at the bottom of the stem. I'm really coming and zip tying right here at the base of that large grouping of leaves. So I've got my rib side and I'm going to come thread it through, and you'll hear that sound. When you hear that sound, you know that you have threaded your zip tie correctly. And I'm going to, you can't pull too hard. And then I'm going to place my hand and I'm going to, you hear it go back and forth like this, and you hear it tighten. Then I take my clipper and I can clip really close. I can get right close there like that.
And she's saying on that, if you don't hear the sound, because if you don't, there's a top
you're
and
showing the
there's a
wrong way.
top and a bottom to the zip tie. And if you don't hear that sound when you're pulling it through, it means that you got it on there backwards. So you just want to make sure there's a part that bumps out. That's the top. Well, you want to make sure you're coming through the bottom, which is the flat side of your zip tie.
Yeah.
And that's where you'll hear that.
Yes. Thank you for not wasting my
Okay.
zip tie. Those are precious zip ties. Okay. So there you go. So that's my first one, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unhook it so we can do it again together. Should we? So
Sure,
they
go
know.
for it.
Okay, let's go ahead. So now I want you to grab your full stem. Remember, watch, I just carefully take your hands. And so you're going to place it down. Remember, you've selected the point that's behind the wreath hanger, and I place it right on the top. All right, Matt, you're going to hold it for me so we can. All right, and I've got the rib side. You want the rib side up in your, okay. And I'm going to come completely under. And I'm going to thread it through. Oh, there I go. I heard that sound. And I get really tight on it and I get my clippers. So because I've selected a fuller stem, now I'm going to go ahead and let's grab a clump of your greenery. So I hope you guys all have your first stem fastened on. If you notice this stem, the way it curves, it's right on the wreath base. If maybe right now, after you've zip tied yours, your stem is way off here like that, just kind of reposition it. Or if it's still hanging over, you go ahead and trim it. So now I'm going to take my clump of fresh greenery and you're going to place it right on. You don't want to go way up to cover your magnolia, but you want to come down just about right here.
And actually even placing it so that lighter, that
There you go.
lighter
Thank you.
green
Yeah.
is facing outward. It gives you more texture and color to the wreath. So
Okay. All right, so here I grab my zip tie with the ribbed side up, and I'm gonna come around. I don't want to zip tie at the bottom where Matt's thumb is. I'm going to go ahead and zip right up here at the base of that grouping of greenery. And I'm going to pull it real snug. I'm going to go ahead and clip. And then I'll reach over and I'll let Matt select a grouping. If Matt were to pick up a small, which that's okay, because that might, if you pick up a small one, then you could easily add another small stem, or we could just use this one is fine too. So I'm going to come and move down just slightly, grab my zip tie, my rib side is up, and I think I can still just stay on the base or come right through. I think I always like to have a few leaves on the bottom, so I'm going to keep those off from this grouping, and I'm going to come right up here. And I appreciate, again, your patience. I'm sorry we started so late. So I hope that you're able to see this, because our view, we aren't able to have our second camera working. So there I've got my.
That's a good start.
Okay, so here we go. We've got this kind of long stem there. I think I might just trim him a little bit.
Magnolia stem, or
yeah, and let's get another magnolia stem. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that bottom. And as you place this magnolia stem, you want to be conscious of like the composition of your wreath. You want to always be sure that you're creating this open space, which obviously makes it look like a wreath. If we just, so you want, when you place that stem, you don't want it to be coming way over into the center. You want it to kind of stay.
Open space in the middle?
Yeah, the open space in the middle.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and we've applied our second stem there, and thank you for holding. I've got my rib side up. I'm gonna come right here. And I know you at home probably can't hear these wonderful sounds that we hear when we're out here at the farm, but it's quite often that we hear a woodpecker, or I think one of our favorites is in the late evenings, we'll hear the owl. It's kind of like
we call him the owl, but
yeah.
I know there's
yeah,
but we do call him the owl.
I feel slightly attached to him because I feel like it's such a success when he comes and hoots for us, right? But you're right. He's not
hear
my
him at
owl.
night when we're camping out here. Sometimes we hear him at night, and he's actually really loud. So it's pretty fun. One night he was sitting on top of a tree that was right underneath an area where we were camping. It actually startled us when he called out in the middle of the night.
Yes, we felt like as if he was on the top of our camper. And we have to say that we're camping. I feel like we've always been tent campers and raised our kids with camping trips. But now that we're empty nesters, our first excitement was to go and purchase a camper that that we could no longer be in the tent. So sorry, kids. Oh, goodness. Okay, so I got busy talking there, but I did go ahead and place that second clump of greenery. So I just want to take a moment and kind of just look and see how your wreath is coming together. And I think so far so good. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another stem. And I hope that as you are gathering, working on your wreath, maybe you've got some friends that are there helping you. It certainly is a wonderful time of year to be able to gather and kind of get our decorations for your home.
And you can kind of, as you go along, you can kind of move those magnolia leaves around and see how I'm just pulling the greenery out, and you're going to get those different textures and colors in that wreath. And this is one of our better selling bases, is this combination of these different cedars with the magnolia. It's just a beautiful combination.
Yeah, actually on the website, we sell it as it's called a fresh front wreath. So, okay, so you've got your stem, your rib side of your zip tie is up. I'm going to go ahead and come. I think I'm going to go ahead and stay below all the leaves here on this one. It's got, rather large leaves. So I'm going to zip tie that. Okay. I feel like I might have put him a little close because he,
You can pull that one
Pull
down
it
a little
down.
bit. There you go.
I could re-zip tie that one, but
That's okay. We're all right.
okay. So you can see, I think I might have zip tied that a little close to my greenery, but thank you, Matt, for adjusting that.
Here's a good example of where she's saying, hey, if you've got a stem like sticking way out there, you can always just come with your clippers and just, trim that right off there. So
All right, so let's we're gonna go with another magnolia stem. 2 magnolias. Okay,
that
I
around
know.
there.
So if you see some magnolia leaves, obviously that have a little discoloration on the back, not to worry, just turn it over to that rich glossy green side. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and thread all the way under. When we come out here to the farm, I'm off at this time of year in December, I'm often reminded of a tradition that my family used as a child. We used to come out here and actually cut down our Christmas tree, and it certainly wasn't a noble fir here in Florida, but it was a sand pine, and so we'd jump into what we called the boom boom Jeep and go cut a sand pine down. And quite often Matt and I would have our kids do the same. And the funny story of the year that we had our sand pine Christmas tree, and he definitely was not as pretty as the noble fir was.
So we actually, Julie's admitting the fact that our oldest daughter at the time, she might have been
Maybe 3rd grade.
and she came home and saw the tree in our family room and just burst out into tears. So we all tease her about that now. So it's pretty fun.
But yet I have to say, even last year, we still gathered. Our kids are all older and in college, some are out of college, and but we still gather and go and cut it down because there's fun memories to be out here.
But that first year, she just didn't like the way it looked. Might have impacted the way Santa was going to come through. I'm not sure.
Okay, so we added that clump of greenery, and as you can see, maybe you're about halfway through the base of your wreath. And thank you, Matt. Find another stem.
Right there.
Okay. So remember, you don't want to place that magnolia stem completely on top of that fresh greenery. You want to just pull it down a little bit. So should we, I feel like you guys probably have the hang of this, but maybe we'll show one more time, Matt, you hold. Okay.
We're going to move these around and pull that greenery out when we're all finished here. We're going to move those magnolia leaves around and pull that green, those mixed bunch greenery, out.
Okay, so I'm gonna not zip tie completely on top of those leaves. I'm gonna kind of come behind them because you generally want to zip tie kind of at the base of that grouping of leaves. So remember, you've got your rib side of your zip tie up. Pull it real snug. Is that a word? Okay. All right. And then we'll get your greenery. And what's really nice about this greenery I love is that it definitely puts you in the Christmas spirit because it has such a wonderful smell. So, okay, so I'm going to place this not way up here. I'm going to come down a little bit. And, I have a lot of copper showing, but if I just know that you can come back later, look at how easy that is just to turn that. So if you are like, you want more greenery, more green leaf showing, it's just a simple flip.
And if you guys have any questions along the way, please send us some questions, and there's a way that we can see the questions still.
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure
so we
with
can.
the technical.
And if you have any questions, send us questions, and we'd love to answer them for you.
And so, even if that's awesome, if that part's working now. So we'd love to know where you're calling from. So I know we have some friends in Florida joining us. And I want to say that thank you. I know when I was putting together these wreath kits, my mom was quite a big help. This is definitely a family run business, and we were counting out all the zip ties and zip tying these together. And I put the FedEx label on 12 kits that went, and suddenly I realized they didn't have zip ties in the box. So sorry about that. So I hope all of you, we quickly shipped out zip ties.
So you replaced them.
Yes. So we did. So. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to add another magnolia stem. How are we doing over there with our stems?
So funny.
Many stems. And more than likely, you're going to have some extra stems that you can use. And in your, maybe make a centerpiece or something. And so, okay, we have someone joining us from Fort Worth
And
and
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Great.
Okay, as you can see, the way I placed that stem, it's a little off the base of my wreath. So just come back and cut it. So now it's just right there on my on the base.
So I think what you need to do is make that a little bit
Was I a little, did I
fuller. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're getting
Okay.
a little bit smarter. Make it a little bit fuller.
Well, and I could easily, okay.
Better
Do
maybe
this
put
one.
another one on top of it.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so yeah,
There you
that stem
go.
was a little smaller, so I'm just gonna come back and place another one on top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Prescott, Arizona, and Asheville, North
Asheville.
Carolina. Awesome. And back to Mississippi, state flower, and I think the state tree, right? I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think it is.
I'm not sure how many
So-
should go under the stem. I know oftentimes when Matt and I will be at the trade shows or visiting with customers, we will have people come up to us and tell us their stories of the magnolia trees, the memories that they had as a child of maybe climbing in their grandmother's magnolia tree. It really is. I always often say to Matt that it's the giving tree, because there's so many incredible things that we're able to do with this magnolia tree. I mean, obviously we're showing you this wreath now, but Matt can certainly elaborate
Yeah,
on
we
all the
really
other,
do. We really do. And I'm so happy that your mom loves this tree, this wreath program. So thank you. But no, we actually do a lot of different things with these magnolia groves. We propagate a lot of the trees from cuttings. So we'll go ahead and in August and September, we take a lot of cuttings off the trees. We bring them into the greenhouses and then actually root them for small magnolia trees. Those will grow off in our nursery and then plant actually out here in the field for future trees that we can cut on. A lot of those trees also will go into our gift tree nursery, and we ship those across the country for different occasions. So that's been really rewarding.
We've really, we love hearing the stories about the meaning behind the gift trees that are planted. Oftentimes a magnolia tree will be sent in memory of someone, and so it's amazing to think that this tree came from the cuttings. And as Matt was saying earlier, that this grove is almost
These
20
trees are about 20
20
years
years old.
old. We planted these trees 20 years ago now. So it's really great to be able to use them in different ways.
Okay, so as you can see, we're getting kind of close to the end of the base.
This is sort of our progress so far.
Good teamwork.
That's right. There's a team.
And you might have someone helping you at home too as well. It's nice. Maybe you even got Christmas carols in the background. We've got the chirping of the birds and woodpeckers here. Okay, so I'm going to take that other stem, kind of place it. I have a tendency to want to cover up that greenery, so remember to pull down just a bit, and so that you can see that grouping of greenery. Okay. Well, and another tradition I think about when we in December is we have our annual hay ride where our children come with all their friends and families, and we gather around and cook hamburgers and hot dogs and go for jump on the hay trailer filled with hay and sing Christmas carols through the Magnolia. We weren't able to do it last year, so we're really looking forward to doing that. And I have to say, one of my favorite memories of the time when the truck was filled with kids and we were all singing Christmas carols and Matt got stuck. So
I did. I got stuck.
and,
It was actually, I think it was a tractor that was pulling the trailer. So
and everyone had to pile off the tractor and get out. I don't think we actually had to push, but that was
it got
certainly
close.
an eventful. So it's nice here in Florida right now to actually, I mean, as you can see, I have a sweater on, and sometimes it's been 85 degrees in Florida. So we're quite grateful that's a little cooler.
And we've got somebody from Sarasota too. We've got our son is down in Sarasota now. So.
Okay, so I've got my magnolia stem. Let's go ahead and get one more magnolia. Two magnolias. Okay. All right, so as you see, as you get to the end, that stem's going to want to come and press over those existing grouping that you zip tied. So you want to just slide that stem underneath, or you could, I mean, you certainly can trim it, but I'm just going to slide mine right under. All right, getting my ribbed side here. Thank you. And I really, when we finish today, I would, if you have a chance, I'd love for you to share your pictures of your completed wreath. It's just so fun to see your creativity and how well you're able to put this together, you know.
That looks good.
Sometimes it can be a bit intimidating, but once you get started, I hope that you're finding that your wreath is just looking beautiful. So we're almost finished. Let's go ahead and grab another grouping of your fresh greenery. And I'm just gonna, and so again, if we're kind of getting to the end here, so I'm gonna just slide it under my leaves. I think I've got a good composition there with my center.
And when you're sort of finishing up your wreath, if you've got an area that looks like it might be a little bit sparse, there's enough left over there between the zip ties and the bunches or the magnolia stems. You can always come back in and insert either magnolia stem or one of those fresh little bunches in there to fill that void and to get it a little more symmetrical if you want.
Okay, so I think we all know we need a magnolia.
Right.
There we go. So this end part gets a little bit trickier just because it's getting a little tight, but you can go ahead and trim that end.
Get a little shorter down.
Make a little shorter.
Yeah.
And and maybe just because of the camera, maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna pull back that grouping. I'm gonna kind of slide that stem in. And then I'm gonna slide it in. Okay.
So we had a question, somebody typed a question, like what type of magnolia tree are we cutting on? I think that's what the question is. So these are all southern magnolias, and this person asked, you know, because they might want to plant one. They're all southern magnolias, but southern magnolias have all different cultivars, which are, you know, they have different attributes to them. This one's got really big, glossy green leaves and is known for that really copper backside to it. And this one's called a D.D. Blanchard. So this is primarily what we make our wreaths and decorations out of, is this cultivar. We will use some other ones that have different attributes, smaller leaves, or maybe no copper to the back of the leaves. So we're planting some new varieties that can be used in different ways for making wreaths and garlands. But this one that you're looking at right here is it's called a D.D. Blanchard.
Okay, so I'm added that second stem, and I'm kind of just sliding it back in. Make sure you can see this, sliding it back in. This gets a little more difficult with the zip tie, but I know you can do it. It just gets a little snug, but go ahead and kind of place it in the position you like and zip tie.
We've got another friend from Birmingham. Thank you so much for joining us.
I think I'm gonna do one more greenery.
Little greenery bunch. Yeah. You might want to come back and put one in there. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm almost finished, but I realize I want to, you know, add that one more grouping of greenery. I actually think I'm not going to use that final clump, final grouping, but I think I'll stick this one right in. I mean, it's kind of close, so
You
maybe
can trim those stems too if you want. You need to. Oh, you don't need to. Great.
I think I'll zip tie it, and I might even come up here a little. I'll get right there.
So magnolias are really easy to grow. Somebody was talking about planting one. They're really easy to grow, but full sun is the trick for them. We really like to get the trees in full sun and well-drained soil. And if you have well-drained soil and full sun, then the last ingredient is a lot of water, because magnolias love water. They just don't like standing water. fertilizer wise, they'll respond to anything. They're heavy feeders. They'll respond to any kind of fertilizer. So that's sort of the trick there.
Oh,
And
all the way.
Shelton,
Shelton,
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Wow.
Thank you
Okay.
for joining
Thank
us.
you for joining us today.
Oh, and as I am holding up my wreath, I realized I did forget an important point, and that was to make sure that you didn't zip tie over your hanger. So if so, you might have to just adjust the back a little, but I think you'll be okay. So here we go. I've got my base. So great job if you're at this point. Way to go.
And we have somebody else in from Tallahassee. That's pretty close to home here. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So now the next part is we're going to accent this wreath. So let's grab your first grouping of pine cones, and you want to kind of place them right at 12 o'clock. So right up at the top where you're going to hang the wreath, and separate your wire. And then you're just going to come in. Okay.
See, since we're dealing with one camera here. So
Okay. So I'm just going to come in like this.
we'll
Kind of place. On top of that way. Right on top, right there. And kind of maneuver your leaves a little bit, not to break them in half. And then, okay, this part I want to show you. I'll flip it over to show them how to twist it maybe. Okay, so just going to take, the nice thing about this floral wire is it's just easy to twist. So just go ahead and twist it, get it down real snug. A couple of times, maybe give it like 3 twists, and then go ahead and clip it off. And it can be a bit sharp. So go ahead and just bend this back down into that wreath base so you don't cut yourself. So remember, you place that one at 12 o'clock. And then we're going to place the next one at 5 o'clock. So kind of work all the way down your wreath, almost to the bottom. And thank you for joining us from Huntington Beach, California.
Wow, that's a distance away. So
yes, I feel like we kind of have a little bit of your weather because we have not had humidity for almost
really
like
nice.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's
when we don't get humidity, we wake up in the morning, we're like, wow, this is like California weather. That's what we always say.
Yeah, and I put on my boots, right? And then I tell Matt, can we have a fire, please? Can we turn the AC down and have a fire? Okay, so at 5 o'clock, I just went ahead and added that other grouping. Maybe be on
That's good.
top.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You place it on top of my, maybe, you know,
Right here, maybe.
on top of my leaves. Okay. So just go ahead and twist it all the way around back. Give it 3 twists.
We had somebody just send us a message
Oh.
saying that theirs looks amazing. So we love to see what you guys end up creating. And later, if you could please email us a picture, because we love looking at it. And from that first class that we had some incredible designs that we saw. We were like, wow, it was just a great job on a lot of them.
And what's really fun is on Instagram or Facebook, if you post your picture, that's always fun too. Okay, so we had a pine cone at 12 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then we'll place this third one right around like 7 o'clock. And maybe, you know, if I'm kind of placing it on top of that grouping of greenery, so just go ahead and kind of lift it up and let that wire kind of get underneath. So you can see how I'm doing that.
You don't want to pinch your greenery down inside the wreath so you want to, you know, get on top of the greenery, but the wire you want to bring underneath those sprigs of greenery so you don't like pinch that greenery down in there.
And then twist, give it a couple twists. And then we'll cut it off. Tuck it back under. Okay.
Great.
Now you have your flax. And this grouping, some of the groupings that when I was placing them in your wreath kit, some of them might be a little large. So I would just kind of prefer not to have quite so big of a grouping. So I'm just going to kind of slide some of this flax out. It's real easy to slide out. And I'm just going to keep this. So I kind of separated
You
it.
keep the tape on the
Yeah.
original grouping.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. And over here in that envelope, you have your glue dots.
So the tape is important to keep on the, is that what you're saying?
It is, but even not, this glue dot is really, we've got some good, these glue dots work great. So
Okay, good.
I'll be able to, so you can just unroll your glue dot. Got it right here. And so you're just going to place it right on that green tape there. And you can come and just place it right. And I'm just going to place it right here to the right of my pine cone. Just place it right here and it sticks. So, and this is where you get to be really creative. I mean, if you
On
want
the green
to,
side, you need-
yeah.
Is that important to be on the green?
yes, it will
So-
stick better on the green versus the copper side. But if you feel free to place yours in another spot would be fine. But I'm going to go ahead and just kind of keep this pattern going where I take my flax and place it close to my pine cones. Okay. I know I have to tell you, I took some good wreath making lessons recently from Martha. She's a wreath making artisan, and she's been making many a wreath. And so when I was showing her my flax, she said, she said, Julie, you gave her big clumps of flax. So so that's why I'm reducing mine a little bit here. So I separated, I didn't keep the green tape on, and that works fine. I just wrap my glue dot around that base. I'm going to come right close to my grouping of pine cones and stick that flax.
You could show them now
oh,
at
yeah.
this point what you have.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see. If
So hopefully your home is starting to smell a little bit more Christmassy with that.
Right.
Yeah, that Carolina sapphire. Then the next thing you have is, but why don't we do the cinnamon
I have a
stick?
question. What are you sticking them to?
Oh, so I'm just taking that flax and sticking it to the green side of that magnolia leaf.
The glue dot will stick better to that green side of the magnolia leaf. And those glue dots are really resilient. So they've got a lot of holding power to them. You
Okay,
just get
got
on
it.
that glossy surface.
So have your cinnamon stick, as you can see, it's kind of on this bit of a wire, a little bit firmer than the pine cone wire. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to place it on the other side of that grouping of pine cones. And there's two ways you can do this. You can almost just kind of poke this down into your grouping, and it'll just fit snugly right in there. So
It'll just hold like
and it just
that.
holds just like that. So you can just kind of feel how snug it is. If maybe where you're placing it's not quite as snug as you want it, then you can certainly take your clippers and clip it. It's real bendable, so you can kind of maneuver it just in the right spot. So I'm going to go ahead and place this cinnamon stick.
I did not receive any glue dots. I used floral wire.
Yes, floor wire will work fine. Yes. Okay. And sorry about that. Someone asked they didn't receive glue dots, and yes, floor wire will work just fine. And then let's take this group again, your cinnamon, and I'm just going to kind of place it, because you've got such a tight base, you've got all those stems, you've got that grouping of greenery, and your base of your wreath is those wood shavings. So that cinnamon stick just fits real snugly right in there.
And if we were to look at this wreath, just because we've been doing this for so many years, sorry. This little spot right here is sort of an example that we talked about that we'll probably come back and we'll go ahead and add maybe a little magnolia stem just to fill that little void up. I don't know if you guys can see that one little area up here that we can add a little bit of a magnolia stem right there. Would you want to add one a little bit right there?
Yeah, I think so. It's good a little bit there. So,
and what we'll do is we'll just get a smaller stem and clip it down to a little bit of a smaller size. And we can just come in.
it doesn't need to be zip tied.
Well, you can zip tie
Yeah,
that
but
in there.
we're all-
Okay, well, we're out of zip tie.
When we do it, I did that first one, and
We can use a little bit
Yeah,
of floral wire
yeah.
on there.
we let it zip tie.
but there you go. And we'll just wire that in. We had a little bit of floral wire left over from our pine cone tails
Yeah.
there, didn't we?
And the reason we're kind of really paying attention to the shape of the wreath is because if you have a really full round base, as it dries, those fresh leaves kind of curl upward. And as it dries, if you did have kind of a spacing where it wasn't super tight, it'll be more evident as it dries. So as you see, I didn't do such a good job of securing this cinnamon because it fell back out, but I'm gonna try it again. I don't think I pressed it. There. So I got my cinnamon stick. I think I only need one more cinnamon. Okay, so remember those cinnamon sticks went right next to the pine cone. So I've got one final one to place here. And you can even, like on this one, I kind of took it and I just kind of curled the base of that wire on my cinnamon stick and kind of curled it up so it was a bit more secure. Okay, so the last thing that we have is the yarrow. And you really don't want everything to be just so completely perfectly symmetrical where everything is symmetrical on the outside. So you might look at it, and I'm going to just go ahead and place this yarrow kind of more so it's not in the same pattern. So I'm just going to come and tuck it in a little. So it's kind of your personal preference. You just can kind of look at your wreath and know, okay, just kind of want to do add a little red grouping. Maybe I'll come right down in here. Now you do have extra flax if you chose to kind of separate yours. So this is kind of your personal preference. You can just peel off those tiny little extra pieces. And maybe you do want to add a little bit more red. So it's just kind of your style of what you'd like. If you want to come in and place a little bit more.
So you're
You
actually
certainly
doing
can.
that without the blue dot,
Yes,
too.
and yes, yeah, I am. That's right. And yes, I mean, you certainly, if for those of you, I apologize for forgetting that one customer's glue dots, but yes, you certainly can.
So we had a
Okay.
question about explaining the cinnamon stick. I
Okay,
think,
I'm going to take this one out again. Okay.
and you can see where Julie put the red flax on the top, if you would call that the top of the pine cone cluster, and then the cinnamon stick she actually is inserted into the bottom of it.
Yes, sticking
So-
or bend. That's a great question, and it kind of it depends on how that base is fitting together as I go to place it. So for this one, it's straight. I'm going to kind of come in and just kind of feel through those magnolia stems. And so I think for me right now, the way I can just place that cinnamon stick, and let's see if I can show you on the camera. Close up. Okay, we're going to get a close up. Okay, thank you. So I took the cinnamon stick and I'm just kind of threading it through some of those stems, and then I'm going to twist it up. That was a great question. I really appreciate you typing that in. I'm going to bend it up, and then I'm just going to tuck it under.
And it'll hold there.
And there it holds. And then bend it down. And what the nice thing is all this fresh greenery, you just have the ability to just kind of maneuver and hide any little bit that might have been showing for that wire. So, and with this yarrow, you know, I realized I didn't even show you with the glue dot. Lots of times you can take that yarrow and even just press it right through that green leaf. That works. That holds it. So I didn't even need a glue dot in that one.
But the glue dots work good too, don't they?
Yes, yes. I apologize. I just quickly went right there, placed it there. So I'm hoping that you have been successful with your wreath making. And just to show you, depending upon where you place your wreath, if you have it indoors where the heater's on, if it's cold where you are in Connecticut, then your wreath will probably begin to dry a bit quicker than someone who decides to place it on their front door in a cool temperature. But no matter where you have it, your wreath will just kind of stay together and be something that you can use even next Christmas. I just wanted to share with you, we made this wreath about 3 weeks ago, and just wanted to show you what it looks like now. So
that's the same wreath that we
Yeah,
made 3 weeks
yeah.
ago.
yeah, so actually I've got I'll turn it this way. Here's my zip tie hanger. So as you can see, the color changes. That dark green just kind of turns to a lighter patina color, but your wreath just kind of becomes another unique wreath for the holidays. So we just want to say thank you to all of you for joining us, and we apologize that for the technical difficulties and that the camera is a bit different. We weren't able to show you that side view, but
I
it's
have
just
a couple more questions. I don't know if anybody has any
okay.
other questions before we sign off here. And again, if there's if you have any other questions about your wreath or any other way we can help you, please email us also or message us on Instagram. We'd be happy to answer those for you.
And actually, another thing, so if you, after the holidays come January, and you do want to keep your wreath for next year, that box that your wreath was shipped in, just simply take your wreath down, place it in there. As your wreath dries, you'll notice those leaves do become more brittle. So we recommend that maybe you place it under your bed in a cool spot. And you just want to make sure that it's completely dry before you place it in that box, because sometimes we've had where if it's not completely dry, it has a tendency to possibly not hold up as well. So just make sure it's completely dry and then place it in your box. And
It should be dry by then. And it was interesting this
yes.
week we had a customer of ours send us a picture of a wreath from 15 years ago that she takes out of her box every year and she hangs it up on her mirror. She's up in the Washington, D.C. area. And we took that picture around to everybody that is on our team and showed it to them. And some of the ladies actually that are on the team making the wreaths now were working for us 15 years ago. And so it was really rewarding to show them this picture of a wreath that they made 15 years ago. That was really interesting. It was really fun.
Yes, and we want you to know that all of the emails and the comments that you make on social media, that we really do enjoy sharing with our team, because Matt and I realize we wouldn't be able to do this and be here with you today if it wasn't for this incredible team that we have of artisans back at the workshop that are making. It's just such a special time of year, because we walk out there, I kind of feel like it's workshop, because there's all these different areas where we're prepping the leaves, placing them, adding the accents, packing up. So just want to tell you thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes,
we really appreciate it.
We appreciate you
Yes.
joining us, and have a wonderful holiday, happy holidays, and Merry Christmas to all of you.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and where to send pigs? Yes, you can send them to me, Julie, at the Magnolia Company, or you can also just load them up and share them on Facebook and Instagram. Our Instagram is the dot Magnolia Company, and then our Facebook is the Magnolia Company. So
thank you
so much. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.